Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your Goddess Guru, your sister friend. I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. I'm rebooting a series that I had. I'm calling it now The Goddess Lens Real Lives Cosmic Lessons, where we explore how astrology reveals soul lessons behind real life stories. Typically, it was kind of like case studies looking at celebrities or people who are well known. So I want to use this as a way to look at astrology and help us to understand how astrology can help us. um, I am just such a big proponent on not living life just by the happenstance, and we have been robbed of these spiritual sciences. And so it has helped me so much. I want to help others. I remember one of my astrology teachers used to look at celebrity charts, and it's because, not for gossip, but more to help us to understand, because we can really see that person's astrology. People who are in the public eye, it's so easy to look at the astrology and be able to see what's going on. And so I oftentimes look at things that are happening in the media. I don't really keep up with stars. I feel sometimes super embarrassed because there's a lot of people I don't know, because I'm not into keeping up with stars, but I do keep up with people who are in the headlines. Um, and after a while, if they stay there for a minute or if it's something that's extraordinary, then I want to see what's going on in their astrology. And in doing so, it helps me learn astrology, to be honest with you. One of my teachers, actually my main astrology teacher who I take with regularly, Victor, always is bringing up a celebrity's chart. And we get to learn so much about astrology because it's just so clear and evident, because we can actually see what's happening in their lives, or what has happened in their lives. So that's what this is all about. And so, yeah, if you're interested in knowing more about astrology, how astrology can help you, and also if you're curious about some of these people and why things are happening, it's so easy just to kind of think, especially with the person who I'm looking at today, Sean Combs. It's so easy just to be like, it was coming. But the question is why? Why now? And the thing that I love about astrology that to me beats anything else, numerology might come close, but astrology has a predictive side. It does a great job of describing, say, for instance, our personality, but it absolutely can predict some things. And one of my predictions was Sean Combs needed to prepare to stay in prison for a while. Now, how long? I'm not sure. When it was announced that he got off the RICO charges, but he still, got two other charges, I thought, huh, maybe there was something I missed. Looks like he'll be out in the fall. But then, to hear that he was given 5 years, which of course he served some of that already, I thought, okay, that's what I saw. And it's the astrology. It's not like I have any real, well, maybe I do have a little bit of a gift and talent. Oh, well, come on. Yeah. But we can study astrology and pick up the skill and be able to predict pretty much with great accuracy. You get a sense of what it is going to be. I always love to say astrology doesn't dictate your life, but it can help you to prepare for hard times. It's like sometimes, I don't care what you know in your astrology, baby. When that hard astrology comes, you're just gonna have to live that thing out. You're gonna have to walk it out. Okay. Um, but yeah, so I want to just kind of look at what is the astrology teaching us about Sean P. Diddy Combs, and where potentially is he going. I've looked at his natal chart a little bit already, so I'm not going to do that. I'm mostly kind of looking at the timeline. And because I want to talk to you about eclipses, we'll talk about the impact of Saturn in a person's chart. We'll look at a theme, a monthly theme that I love to consider. Is so easy to do so. So yeah, I'll be going over all of that. And let's see here. Anything else? Jupiter, I feel like it's helping him, but to a certain degree, Jupiter, I think is giving him a little bit of good luck, but also I honestly believe Jupiter is bringing some justice. Um, oh, and I want to look at Pluto and what Pluto did. Okay, so here is his chart, and I'll take this down for now. Where is it? So I have more room to talk. Okay, so we don't know Sean Combs' time of birth, but we do know he's born November 4th, 1969 in New York. So I'm just going with looking at his placements. Okay. We don't know his rising sign. I will say if you don't know your moon sign, one of the things you can do is I just did a search. I typed in what sign was the moon in on November 4th, 1969. And AstroSeek is really good with giving that's Astro dash Seek, SEEK, is really good with giving you where that moon was on that day. Because for some people, if you don't know your time of birth, then you don't know where that moon is. It's between one of two signs. That is for sure. Um, but you can go and look to see was the moon between two signs if you don't know your time of birth, or was it just in one sign? So it was in Virgo um, on November the 4th. And we don't know, though, the exact degree for him. But let me tell you why this is important. Because we can narrow this moon down to Virgo, um, it lets me know that, he is in for a time of his life. So the eclipses, which y'all hear me talk about a lot, I love moon astrology. I love lunar astrology because it's impactful, it's powerful. The moon is considered a luminary. It's one of two. There is the sun, and then there's the moon. These two planets dictate so much of our lives, and so the eclipses are about the sun and the moon. Okay, and it's all about the moon. It's really spiritual events or astrological events that happen as a result of what the moon is doing. Okay. And so there's the part of the eclipse where it's like we're going to go in a new direction because the eclipses are always 180 degrees. So imagine this hand right here is the north node, and this hand right here is the south node. So the north node is like, hey, let's go in a new direction, new beginnings, something new is happening. It's like the spring. And then this hand being the south node is, we're letting things fall away. There needs to be detachment. It's actually a pretty difficult um the south node, and the energy of it is difficult because it requires you to release and let go and detach. And if you the eclipses either side, it's like it trying to keep you in alignment with your destiny. And sometimes if we're off track, then that south node can make things go away that maybe you were clinging on to, you had no real desire to let go of. But it's getting rid of anything that can't go with you into the next phase of the journey. It's just a way that I look at it as a cleaning system, that south node of the eclipse. And then the north node of the eclipse, it keeps us moving in a new direction. It's why it doesn't matter who you are today, it will change down the path. You'll become somebody new because that's the cycle of life. That is what astrology does for us. So right now, all Virgos, anyone who has planets in Virgo, you are being asked to release and let go. Let something go. Okay. So the thing about Sean Combs is a few years back, I want to say around 2022, the South Node was up here in Scorpio where he has 3 planets. So the cleaning out started back then, okay? And it was in 2023 that I really started paying attention to what was going on with him. And that's when Cassie Ventura filed I think she brought a lawsuit against him. And so right around that time, looking at his chart, it was to me several people. I think that was when Jamie Foxx was really sick. It was somewhere around that time. Will Smith was starting to, spiral down and that kind of thing. And that South Node was there, just purging and purging and purging. Scorpio is about power. So it's kind of like his power. Sean Combs' power just started dissipating. So he has 2 planets there. And when you have a planet as a part of the eclipse, it makes it even more powerful. And, of all the planets, his sun was there. The Mercury was there, and they're kind of close together. So that South Node was just purging them and clearing and cleansing. And, it's like opening things up to get things cleared out and maybe revealed. And we also have to remember Scorpio is definitely an energy where I love Scorpios. It's very healing. So I'm gonna say something positive first. It could be very healing and intuitive and spiritual, but this can be a criminal, psychologically, psychosis, diabolical, criminal. This is that one of those signs. Okay. Also, Aquarius is one of those signs, and he has Mars there, which Mars is the planet of war. It's a really harsh planet. It's a good planet. I love all the planets, but that planet is no joke. And it has the energy of criminality in it. Now it doesn't necessarily mean he had to manifest it that way, but for whatever reason, that's the path he chose, right? So all this energy just starts getting purged from Scorpio. But then when the eclipses, because the eclipses move clockwise, okay? Yep. So then they go down into Scorpio and they just start cleansing and purging. Now, excuse me, Libra. Libra is a sign that has to do with lawsuits, attorneys, um, anything that agreements, anything that has to do with the courtroom. All right. Jupiter actually is a planet that has to do with law and justice. Okay. So the south node of the eclipse is there purging, 3 planets in Libra. This man can't get a break. Actually, when if we backtrack, when the um eclipses were in Scorpio, remember there was going to be the south node in Scorpio, north node in Taurus. So even Saturn got affected. Both of them were being affected, okay? Saturn got lit up. It's the planet of karma. So then, all the eclipses were here in Libra. Well, now they dropped down into Virgo. We don't know where this sun is. We don't know what time he was born. If he was born later at night, that moon is even further into Virgo. If he was born earlier, it'll be here in the earlier degrees. But for sure, that south node has gone over this Pluto. He's having a nodal return also because his south node and his north node are in Virgo and Pisces. So it's a lot around destiny. Pluto is a lot around power. So it's like his power is dissipating with that south node. The thing too is this. He is being redirected to get more in alignment with his destiny. His destiny, when I was looking through the timeline, I found one here on, NPR. I actually couldn't keep looking at all this is all pre-2023. I could not look at all of the, lawsuits. It was bothering me because of his repeated behavior of taking advantage of people in, a horrible way, right? And so, that's not what he was born to do. It is time for him to make a change, and he gets to do this before he passes. And this is a hard lesson. I wouldn't wish well, I mean, I can't, it's kind of like, if you do these kinds of things to people, then at some point there's gonna be payments, right? Um, but, it's harsh. Not as harsh because like I said, I think Jupiter's helping him out a little bit, but it's kind of harsh for somebody who's been, ultra wealthy, all powerful, almighty, and now it's all gone. It's just all gone now. He's being asked to go in a new direction. Let go of the old, step into the new. So those south nodes, I mean the nodes of the moon, they are giving him a run for the money. And the crazy part is I was looking ahead. We are not even done with the eclipses in Virgo until 2027. I was just like, why? Why? And then guess what? When they drop down here into Leo and Aquarius, yet again, eventually the North Node is going to get to this Mars. So even here on the Leo Aquarius eclipse or axis is what we call it, he still has another eclipse to deal with. And these begin next year, but it'll take into probably 2027 before it reaches this Mars. So yeah, that's something that I want to share. The eclipses are life changing. And when you use the eclipses to understand what your mission is, then you will find that you are able to let go of that which you need to let go of, and then embrace something new that you need to step into. Personally, I feel like the eclipses are not, um, they they don't sneak up on us. We can kind of sense something is coming. We can feel the thing that we need to let go of, um, and we can kind of sense the new direction that we need to go in. And that new direction that you need to go in, if you're not ready for it, and when it shows up, then you might pass by. You might would tell yourself, "Oh, I'm not going to do it," or it just snatches you up so quickly that you don't even have a chance to really think about it. It's just you just get snatched up, and you thought you were going to be at your one job, but then you get moved to another. It's helped me to not feel like a victim when it's sort of like, well, why didn't I get this? Well, if I'm in a time where I have the South Node more highlighted in my life than the North Node, then when I just start noticing all things are falling away, the South Node makes us very introspective. So maybe I'm more introspective, and it's like this purging and clearing of my inner world. I'm more accepting of it. I think that a lot of us in this culture are, especially in the spiritual space, we're kind of like sold this thing where it's like everything needs to be good for you to know everything is good. But in astrology, there's cycles. And so, there might be the cycle where things are really good. But then there will come the cycle where things feel challenging. But that's a good thing too. I love that part of astrology, even though it's painful when I'm experiencing one of those transits. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving. So the other thing I want to mention is he's 55 years old. And so in astrology, we have what are called perfected years. It is like numerology, where you might be in a 1 year or a 5 year or a 9 year. So you have 1 through 9, and you're going to be in one of those years. And say, for instance, if you're in a 1 year, that's a theme of new beginnings. So, you know, that's it. You'll find yourself really sort of like in a spring of life. There'll be something new. that you will constantly feel like this is something new. I'm supposed to go in a new direction. It will definitely feel like a rebirth. Okay. And so we have the same thing in astrology, except for the numbers are 1 through 12. And so whatever year you're in, that matches a certain theme because 1 through 12 equals, say, for instance, all of the zodiac signs. So, of course, the first zodiac sign is Aries, the 12th zodiac sign is Pisces. And those have certain meanings along with, we call them areas of life. 1 through 12 equals areas of life. And a lot of times you'll hear people say, house. What house? What house did this happen in your chart? It means what area of life. And so for the perfected year, it will let you know what area, or excuse me, what theme you can expect for that year. And I find perfection, just like the eclipses, is some of the best astrology. I love that it's so simple. As long as you know your age, you can use this technique, this perfection technique. Now there's deeper ways of going into perfection to predict more. But if you're just looking for that general theme, then perfection is so good. And I actually have a perfection course. I'll make sure I put a link to the course, and I'll give a discount on it. You'll see it in the description box. But you can download my perfection course, and that way you can know the themes of like for each year. You can just keep using that course to understand the themes for each year. Okay, so Sean Combs at 55. I'll show you. I said I want to pull this up. So this is called a perfection wheel. And you can see what I was talking about. We have the first. So, first meaning what? House or area of life. And it corresponds to an age. All right. So, if we go around and find 55, he is in a eighth house year. And so, with him being in an eighth house year, that's a pretty rough year. I always tell people, I want you to go back. You may remember 7. I remember 7 actually. 9, 31, 43. I don't know if I have people over 67 watching, but if you're over 67, 67, and of course 55. If you go back and look at all of those years and think back, was that an easy year or was that a hard year? If you have a teenager or grandchild who's 19, they might have a rough year. It's a year where you have to deal with your trauma. It's very scorpionic. You have to go deep into the darkness. You have to do a lot of healing. It's all about cleaning and cleansing and purifying, as well as change and transformation. But it's what we call a dark house. And so it's not fun. It can be very, very painful. I also call that a year where deep self-care is important. Okay. And so, he got picked up last year. I can't remember the date that he got picked up. It may have been when he was still 54, but he turned 55 shortly thereafter. Well, I think he's been in jail for longer than a year. So I'm assuming maybe he was in jail at his birthday. So yeah, 54. I think he got picked up at 54 and then he went into his 55th year. So he was at 54, he was in a seventh house year. So when you're in a seventh house year, that's more about courts and laws and, cases, different things like that. Lawyers, attorneys. So even that is lining up with him being 54. Now, not everybody who's 54 is going to be dealing with court cases. You might be dealing with relationships because it's also a relationship house. You might be dealing with needing more support. It's and you might be dealing with, is your life in balance or out of balance? I'm sure that was something that was coming for him. He was totally out of balance. This man is strung out on drugs, right? So 54, he gets picked up, taken to jail. 55 is the year where he is having to hire attorneys and he goes through the legal, he goes through his case. his trial. He's convicted. That's eighth house, baby. Like, oh my gosh. It's like hard, and you're gonna be doing things where it's like you have to face your inner darkness, your inner demons. If you have mental health issues, this might be a year where that becomes, massive. Now, it does have to do with debt and other people's, like your shared resources, like with your spouse or a business partner, life partner. It could deal with grants and inheritance. So it does have to do with money also. Okay. Um, so this is everything. He had the trial, he got his verdict or his sentence all in 55. Sucky. He's gonna be like 55 sucked. It's a cute number. 55, baby, Oh shoon, baby. But this is nothing to trifle with. Age 55 is nothing to trifle with. So he is also 55. There's another technique that we use in astrology, and it gives me insight about 55. It involves the moon and Saturn. Okay. The moon and the planet Saturn. And so it can be a little bit of a hard year you know, where it's like you got to be more mature. And it can activate the moon, which we see his moon is in Virgo. And Virgo is like, we're gonna deal with all the problems. We need to get rid of some bad habits. And a lot of this 55 has been with the eclipses moving into his moon sign. And kind of like we need to do a little bit of a deep purge. Another thing too is Saturn, has been opposing wherever that moon is. Saturn has been opposing it. Right now, Saturn is actually opposing his Pluto. So opposing is just like when I told y'all with the eclipses, 180. Saturn is 180 degrees, about 180 degrees. Let's see here. Today, Saturn is at 26. It's at 180 degrees from his Pluto. And Saturn is like karma. You're gonna pay up. Now, this is the second time Saturn has been through past this Pluto. Um, and Saturn is like, hey, you're gonna get repayment of whatever you put out. And so that Pluto is all about change and transformation. Of course, Virgo is this sign that deals with problems and habits and you know it's like, "Hey, we gotta get some stuff together." Something has to change in how you are living your life. So he has a lot of karmic energy. Saturn is like, "Get real," and you gotta be mature. That Saturn and Moon also is like asking for that energy of maturity. You gotta grow up, you gotta be strong, and this is with Saturn, you are not going to be able to get out of it. He's been able to buy his way out of stuff, and Cassie settled that. He settled day of with Cassie when she filed that lawsuit against him. Settled day of. Been able to do all of that, but right now, no, he's not able to do that. And I see this in his astrology. Let's see here. So yeah, that Saturn is giving him a run for the money. I kind of had wondered if Jupiter was helping him out because Jupiter was down here in Gemini. And I thought, ooh, Jupiter being down here in Gemini, it's kind of helping him out. And what ended up happening is I think Jupiter helped him to get out of, let me see here. I think Jupiter helped him to get out of the RICO charges. I do think that it did give him, because Jupiter was in an air sign, sending energy to planets in an air sign. I just knew that Jupiter was going to help him. I was pretty certain it was going to help him in some kind of way. So he gets out of the RICO, right? And everybody was thinking, even I was kind of like, just based on hearing people talk, he was pretty much, I think he thought he was just gonna walk. But see, Jupiter is not in a Gemini anymore. It's in Cancer. And so Cancer is is at a 90-degree angle from Libra, which means that Jupiter is in a challenging aspect. It's dealing with him in a challenging way. It's not giving him blessings. It's like, mm, we're going to deliver some justice, right? So he gets those 50 months, even though people think he's going to get out. But also, Jupiter is interacting with his Scorpio planets, which is giving it a blessing. So, I've heard that the judge is like, hey, he can go to some other jail. He can be a part of some type of drug rehab, something. Instead of it just being like hard time, it sounds like he'll be in some type of rehabilitation program, maybe getting out a little bit sooner. Um, then, he's not, maybe he won't serve the whole time of the remaining 50 months. But this is not something that he's gonna get out of. I think that, and I wanna just kinda wrap this up a little bit. I think that, um, things are gonna be a little bit rough for him in February and top of February, maybe January, February. Things can be a little bit challenging for him. I think that he needs to expect things to be hard, okay? And I'm basing this on what I looked at in his astrology. I don't wanna describe all of it, but let's just say Pluto being up here on this Mars and, squaring his, no, not squaring his Saturn, that is giving him a run for the money. Pluto is no joke. I think it is making him have moments where it's just like, you're gonna have to rise to the occasion, and you're gonna have to change, you're gonna have to become somebody new. And then we're gonna have Saturn and Neptune interact with this Chiron, which is this energy of the wound. It's the wounded healer. And so he's gonna go through a deeply healing and transformational process. I believe that we'll hear him come out be more spiritual as a result. I think that he is gonna get a healing, to be honest with you. He will not be who he was when he went in. I don't think this has to be the end of him, like, he's gonna get broken in jail or whatever. He is getting broken by this astrology, but it's not jail that's gonna or prison that's gonna do it. It's you cannot even have a semblance of who you were when you went in. So, I do think that Jupiter is gonna give him a little bit of help at some point, but, largely, it won't be until maybe Jupiter, Saturn trine Pluto, October. Okay, so maybe November, October, November of this year, and then June 2026. Something is gonna help him out a little bit. He's gonna have some help and get some things that are in his favor. But he needs to plan on being in this for a while. For a while. Plus, he has so many lawsuits against him. So the other things I wanted to do just show really quickly. This is March 2024 when they picked him up. Um, I just thought to myself, looking at this chart, I wanted to kind of see, what was going on the day that they picked him up and took him to prison. A lot of what I see in his chart is Saturn, 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 Saturn. I do want to just share something that I feel pretty confident about. In the Ifa tradition, which is out of Nigeria, we study the Odu, which is the wisdom of Ifa. And the um, the Odu Irosun is actually a very important Odu for me. I know this Odu so well. This Odu, I feel, is the same energy as Saturn. Saturn says you need to be mature, you need to accept responsibility, you need to be responsible, you need to lean into the hard. This Odu says, hey, sometimes you have to just be in that hard moment and you can't wish it away. You can't pray it away. It's just, this is just how it is. And so that's how I see things for Sean Combs. The more he accepts responsibility for everything he has done, and he is a man of power. And in the past, he's been able to just make everything happen the way that he wants to. He is no more. He is being rebirthed anew, and it is going to take some time. Like, yeah, I would not count on if I were him, I would plan through 2027. I just this is how I am with my astrology when I realize, oh my God, I'm dealing with a very long transit. Pluto, Uranus, and um, Saturn, Neptune. Jupiter is 1 year, but that's still a good amount of time. But especially those last four outer planets, when we deal with those transits, they take a minute. Uranus is going to help them a little bit. Uranus is going to help them a little bit because it's in Gemini. It's going to go back into Gemini. And so it's going to help them eventually. Um, where is Uranus on here? Oh, okay, yeah. It's in Gemini right now. So it will eventually help him. He'll get more help from Uranus next year. And it'll be something shocking, something that happens, but it'll be something that works in his favor. It'll take a while for Uranus. Oh, also Uranus is going to interact with his Mars. So he is gonna get some type of up level, and it'll be something a little like some type of surprise blessing will come his way. Will we see it? I don't know. He's a public figure. I think we will see it. Um, and then it'll take a little while for Uranus to interact with this Venus and this this Jupiter and this Venus. It's gonna take a good long while before to get there. But within the next 2 years, that Uranus will be definitely um, giving him a little bit of a boost, but it won't really start until next year. Okay. So it's some things that'll be working in his favor. It's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, when if I had astrology like this, I would just be like, just got I gotta accept what I did wrong. In NLP, we like to say, be at first cause. Everything in your life, take responsibility for it. And that is the beginning of turning your life around. So, you know, my older brother, when he has nothing really to say, he says, I wish you all the best. So yeah, I wish Sean Combs all the best. Um, I feel horrible for the people who have been negatively impacted by him. It breaks my heart. And to me, at this point, it doesn't actually the amount of time he spends in prison is gonna be a part of everything that he's doing to have to pay and make restitution for. So don't be discouraged if it feels like he didn't serve enough time. Um, More than likely, he's paying it in so many other ways. And I mean, to lose freedom, mm, yeah. I don't know what Sean Combs is when I look at him. He kind of looks like a Gemini to me. So I wonder if his rising sign is Gemini. Um, but he does have Mars in Aries. I mean, Mars in Aquarius. This man wants to be free. He is a Scorpio. He loves power, you know. So to be locked down in a jail or a prison is horrible, you know. And then of course things don't change after that. I've heard halfway house maybe have to be registered as a sex offender, changes his relationship. I'm sure if he has young children, maybe he can't go around them. I don't know. and then it's all these other lawsuits that are coming his way. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. So, look at it just holistically, the payment that he's making for the things that he's done to people. It's not just about the jail time, and, as he gets to the other side, you know, um, yeah, I just pray that he really and truly has this change. Maybe he can take care of all this karma before he dies. I don't know, but at least he can get some of it taken care of. Hope that this has been fun for you all, or interesting. Maybe not fun talking about Sean Combs, but hopefully it has been interesting and you can see how astrology can explain some things. Again, we can predict the future, but I don't like predicting it like, yeah, for sure, this is what's going to happen, because a lot of it depends on you and where you are in embracing what this astrology is bringing to you. Sometimes the astrology of the future is all about you changing yourself so that you're growing and you're evolving. It's not all the time predicting you're going to get this job or find this relationship. It's not all the time about predicting that. Sometimes it's about predicting you're going through a period of growth. You're going through a period of healing, and that needs to be honored. So it's all about helping you to understand this is largely what it's looking like so that I can be prepared for whatever shows up. I can either be ready on the inside for it, or I can be um it's just it shows up and it's just like, "Oh yeah, I've been waiting for you. Let's go." All right. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and yeah, see you in the next Goddess Lens series, Real Lives Comic Lessons. Peace.